Imagine there was a knife unlike any other, where the blade was grown, not ground, bone and sinew sprouting out, stretching long and thin, needle-like spires forming into a ragged set of sharp, gnarled teeth.
Okay, now stop imagining it. It already exists. Look with your special eyes. This is the Jawbone by GP Blades, and it is, without a doubt, one of the coolest knives in existence. And I own it. Beautiful and intricate hand carving gives way to intimidating teeth from the shimmering metal of the blade. Everything about it is truly a masterwork of art, and I have wanted one for an incredibly long time. Not only were my dreams answered in the form of this specific balisong, but Griff from GP Blades worked directly with me to make it a fully custom realization of my vision. You see, the jaw of this knife is actually directly based on the anatomy of a real fox's jawbone. My suspicious adoration of foxes is a pretty well-known phenomenon at this point, with my logo being a geometric fox head, and our most popular beginner balisong trainer being called the Vulp.
Canis lupus. Vulpus vulpus. I don't think he speaks English or Latin.
However, for me, this was different. Even more exciting than owning a reference to the anatomy of my favorite animal, I was going to own a piece of balisong history itself. GP Blades is a legend within the community due to his incredible artistry and craftsmanship, and I myself have been a long-time fan. Ever since his balisong work began to blossom in 2018, I knew I needed to own something from him, and I could not be happier with this end result. Whatever magic Griff worked to bring this to life has me utterly captivated. Every single part of it was handmade, from the sandwich titanium handles to the stainless TEE-H steel blade. It runs on very well-tuned bushings, has hidden Zen pins, and uses these incredible custom T15 torque screws for the hardware. Though, let's be honest, these specs don't really matter because, well, this isn't even really a review. Every single jawbone Griff has ever crafted is completely unique, forged by hand in the blazing fires of Mount Doom, with a Dremel. Did I mention he carves the blades with a Dremel? We'll talk more about that insane fact later. Regardless, the story of how this balisong came to be and the mastermind behind it is much more interesting than anything I could possibly do with a standard review. So join me on this incredible journey of discovery and teeth, and who knows, maybe we'll learn what Christmas is all about.
Wait, Christmas?
Speaking of Christmas, our Patreon is the gift that keeps on giving. Us. Giving us money, that is. For just $3 a month, you too can join the League of Extraordinary Individuals who keep this channel powered through sheer force of will. And mutual aid. Mostly mutual aid. Patrons get access to behind-the-scenes content and early access to videos like these days in advance of the public, and are invulnerable to most kinds of radiation, unlike Brandon.
War never changes.
Now, let's dive into the history of GP Blades so that we might learn to understand and appreciate this thing just a little bit better. Griff started making knives all the way back in 2013, though it would be quite some time before he would transform into the balisong teeth conjurer we know him as today. It took until 2015 for him to even try his hand at a balisong, and the first concepts of the jawbone wouldn't come to fruition until 3 years later in 2018. But the moment they did, oh man, the first photo of that jaw trainer blade, as he referred to it at the time, absolutely blew up within the balisong community, capturing the imagination of everyone who ran across it on Instagram. I remember seeing it come by my feed back in the day and being utterly blown away by the creativity on display here. Over the following years, he would continue to work on a litany of balisong designs. His portfolio of works is genuinely one of the most diverse I have ever seen, from classic blade shapes executed to the highest of standards to experimental pieces like a skull carved into a cleaver. His work has been been pushing the boundaries of what a balisong can even be for a long time. Some of my favorite pieces are his most out there, though. These come from a combination of custom commissions and artistic liberty, with some standouts being a turtle-inspired design which he named Terry, a venom-themed balisong where the blade is a symbiote, and a tongue-bladed bally with teeth on the handles. And, of course, perhaps one of his most legendary creations, the Ballydong. Just look at that craftsmanship. And craftsmanship it most certainly is. His entire process is completely manual, very similar to the way that Stitch Steel creates his incredible works. Hand-cut titanium is used to make the handles, with a manual mill helping to cut out the hole pattern. The handles are then rounded on a grinding wheel by hand, the same way you would grind a blade, of course. Griff does grind normal blades on a wheel when he can, but yeah, I don't think a grinding wheel's gonna work for that, you know?
Wow.
I don't know about
kill me.
No. Instead, this madman uses a handheld rotary tool, you know, like a Dremel, and slowly, meticulously, painstakingly carves each and every detail into these by hand. I actually have a second jawbone with me today, borrowed from my good friend Mint's collection, and you can see the insane level of detail Griff is able to achieve even better on this one. According to Mint, this was an artistic liberty commission, and GP went absolutely bananas with it. My fox-based blade looks somehow normal compared to it. Thinking about getting these intricate shapes and textures right with nothing but a handheld rotary tool and a prayer makes my brain hurt. And yet, Griff is able to create masterpiece after masterpiece and doesn't even post them to his own Instagram half the time. It is nothing short of inspiring. To be able to craft something so original and cool with only the most basic of tools entirely by hand, it makes me want to create too. And so I did. And now here we are. Feel free to subscribe. No pressure. Don't worry. I'll wait.
I won't.
Okay, but really, owning this balisong is quite literally a dream come true for me. I have been following GP blades since that first concept of a jawbone was posted and salivating over the idea of getting my own in the years since. When I reached out to Griff, he was so awesome to work with. I presented my idea for a foxjaw-based blade and joined the queue. Soon enough, he had concept drawings for me, I paid my deposit, and we were off to the races. This process was extremely smooth. I got update photos as they came, and he asked for my feedback at multiple points throughout the process, so I always felt like things were going in the right direction. As we got to the end, he even asked what handle color I preferred, and I thought about my options for a while before finally settling on this gold color. Gold balisongs are such a classic trope, and I couldn't think of a better color for something this special in my collection. Altogether, the process took about 4 months, which is a while, but when you consider, it actually feels kinda quick. I cannot describe the intensity of anticipation anxiety I felt while waiting for this box to arrive. The moment it did, I cracked that bitch open faster than Brandon can run, which is much faster than you'd expect, by the way.
Good job.
I was instantly elated the moment I got my beautiful baby boy out of his USPS standard issue cardboard prison. I felt fulfilled, like every last detail was everything I had envisioned. The design blew me away, looking even better in person than it did in photos. I stood there staring at it, completely enamored for a good few minutes, until I came back to my senses and started showing it to every living creature around me who would care to give me a few seconds of their time. One of the details that stood out to me the most was the way that the blade had been blackened and then the teeth polished afterwards. It made the dark bone of the jaw stand out against the bright silver of those glossy teeth, showing that attention to little details like this pays off in a major way. I still can't believe that this thing only cost $650. Like, sure, 650 bucks is a lot for a knife in general, but it isn't even really that much for a balisong. The squid industry's Tsunami, for example, starts at $750, and I think it's very much worth the price. But the Tsunami isn't entirely handmade to a custom design specification, which can quite literally be whatever you want. The man made a fucking turtle knife! No, $650 for this? That is highway robbery. I feel like I ought to have paid double for what I did, and I still wouldn't be paying enough. The value Griff offers here is literally unbeatable, and I highly recommend commissioning him when his books open, even if his prices do increase in the future. Actually, especially if his prices increase in the future. The man deserves a damn raise more than anyone, and we should support that. Okay, I've talked a lot about how much I love this thing, its looks, the incredible way it was made, but I know what you're all wondering. Where's my phone at? I just had it, and now I'm watching this video, and it's gone. I checked the table where I normally leave it, I checked the couch, I checked the fridge, and look, I can't help you with that. But I can tell you how this thing flips. Would that make you feel better? It'd make me feel better. Okay, so honestly, my expectations weren't very high when it came to how this thing might actually flip. I mean, think about it. The best flipping balisongs nowadays are designed on a computer where you can perfectly adjust the entire balance before you even start manufacturing it. Even handmade balisongs like the Alien have some predetermined idea of the specs and weight that can be adjusted during the build process. But with the Jawbone, oh no, 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 no. With every blade being a handmade sculpture, there is no telling what any of them are going to weigh or what their weight distribution will be, and yet somehow, against what feels like all odds, it actually flips great. It's not the best bally I've ever tried, but it's surprisingly up there. It is a bit heavy at 5 ounces exactly, but its balance is shockingly neutral. And this isn't a fluke either. Mint's Jawbone is slightly different in experience, but just as good overall. I've had no issues with anything I've tried, from rollovers to aerials, it just works. Funnily enough, I actually really enjoy scissoring on this balisong. For some reason, the blade shape just works really well for it. I think it's fun to be able to giraffe a butterfly knife with teeth. Of course, there is no guarantee that one of these will actually fit your own flipping preferences. It's just impossible to know until, well, it's fully finished. But even then, I am pretty shocked at how consistent these appear to be from the ones I've gotten to try. Honestly though, the flipping only matters so much. Even if this wasn't such an awesome flipper, I would still carry it as often as I currently do. It is wild how much fun it is to simply hold one of these and look at it. Sometimes I'll just sit there and run my fingers over the teeth for the heck of it. It's awesome. Getting to show people this is always a treat as well. Not everybody has an appreciation for butterfly knives, but anyone can understand how cool something like this is. Now, this is normally where I would take a break to let Brandon talk about his thoughts on the knife, but there is no Brandon's Balisong corner today. No, no, no. Brandon's a loser who doesn't have an epic jaw-themed knife like this, so his opinion doesn't matter. But what if he did? What would it be? He is an enigma. You know what? I take it back. Brandon, it's your lucky day. Get over here and tell the groovy people of the internet what you would do with the infinite power of getting to request literally whatever your dark heart desires in the form of a balisong blade.
Ka-chow.
In my time in the balisong hobby, I have come to love just the most specific things that people make. I love just how much creativity so many people in this hobby have, and the Jawbone is just such an incredible representation of that. The turtle thing, the balidong, that's incredible. So many things about these trainers, but they're also technically knives, because you can open a box with this kind of stuff. They're just so unique and so cool, and the craftsmanship that goes into them, me having made stupid things like my butter knife balisong.
Oh my God, it actually halfway flips. I mean, like, legitimately.
I can tell you, hand making this stuff is really difficult. So, as I pondered what I would do, I don't think that I would do something with teeth. I have plenty of teeth already for now. If I was in a situation where I could get something like this, the one very specific thing that I could imagine doing, because I'm nerdy and wacky like that, is the Tower of Orthanc from The Lord of the Rings. That tower has a bunch of really specific, intricate details, from the details of the actual building itself and then the peak of it with the little points on it. I think that Griff could have a field day making something that's at least mildly inspired by that. And it would be completely different than anything he's ever done before. And there's just the little Lord of the Rings nerd in me would just be so pleased to see something like that come to life. And seeing him doing things like the turtle knife, I know that he could. So that's what I would do. And if you don't know, I do all the B-roll and camera work for these videos. Doing the B-roll for this was so much fun, because there's so many little intricate little details everywhere, and just the way it refracts light is just so unique and different than what you would get out of a normal like Balisong blade. And so, yeah, from my level of beginner experience, it's amazing how enjoyable this is to flip. And I don't even like things that are over like 4.5 ounces, and this is 5 ounces, and it just works. It's incredible. I love it. Griff, I love what you're doing. I think it's incredible. And if you had a desire to make my little nerdy dreams come to life, maybe we'll chat. Griff, you keep up the good work, while I
guess we'll never know.
I like the sound effect. Beautiful.
At the end of the day, this is now genuinely one of my most prized possessions. I am so happy to own this, and I would get it again in a heartbeat. I want to extend a huge thank you to Griff at GP Blades for making my dream a reality. It was so nice to work with you during this process, and you knocked it out of the park so much farther than I could have expected. If you haven't yet, make sure you follow GP Blades on Instagram. He doesn't post super often, like maybe twice a year, but every time he does, it is a treat. As always, I want to give a big thank you to our wonderful patrons as well. We love making these videos, but the revenue we get from YouTube is nowhere near enough to actually support us. Thankfully, people like you can help. Every single one of our patrons, even at the lowest tier of $3 a month, supports us more than 1,000 views on one of these videos. That is crazy to consider. 1,000 views does not even get close to equating to $3. Thank you so much to each and every one of you for joining forces in supporting us, whether you are a current patron or a previous supporter. I want to extend a special thank you to Sal and Aether for their direct and substantial support of the channel. But that's pretty much it for the moment. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go ahead and join Brandon for our barefoot journey across Middle-earth to drop a ring into a hot puddle.
This is my channel now. Be expecting future uploads. For our first video, I'm going to tell you how much I hate this cretin. Blade bias Camaro EE Ethan. He's so cringe. He doesn't even own a Camaro. What a loser. I had him in my grasp. I let him escape once. It won't happen again. Is that good?